What's up? It's your boy Rick Hyde, Big BSF. And if I'm not at Native Hype Mark, I'm right here at Shaman 2, 1046 Bloomingdale Road. Pull up. Ricky!
Tonight, I have Deante Howard. A little bit of a different spin, little different vibe here. Deante is an artist, so you're used to seeing some athletes on the show, and I figured I would flip the script a little bit and bring you guys an artist tonight. And he's an artist, and he kind of specializes in athletes, NFL, NBA, MLB, you name it. This cat can do it, and it's just spectacular work. I was so impressed when I saw it that I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, man, I want to get you on Moneyball. I want to chop it up and see how you do this, and you know, a little bit of the methodology there." So, talk to me, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for that introduction.
Absolutely. You know, other than being a Kansas City guy, as you see, I brought Josh with me
right.
because we're not over it. We're not over it, right? There's a couple times now that we should have beaten you guys. I want to start by saying that we owe you, and we're gonna get you. So, are you born and raised in KC?
Counts, right?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Are you born? You're born and raised.
Yep.
All right, so you're a pretty loyal Chiefs fan.
So I became a Chiefs fan during the Dante Hall, Priest Holmes era.
Yeah, Priest Holmes, Larry Johnson. Yeah.
My favorite athlete of all time is Jerry Rice, and like I was like 7 or so getting into football. It was that Super Bowl against the Chargers that
Yep.
made me a fan of the 49ers and Jerry Rice.
Was that 94? Was that 94? Yeah. How old are you now?
35.
Oh, you're a young man. Hold up. You got 5 kids?
Yeah.
35?
Yeah.
I'm 45. Well, I got you by 10. I'm not having any more kids. So good for you. But I remember that Super Bowl like it was yesterday. I think it was 94. And you know, KC throughout the years just has an absolute, it's in the genetics to have unbelievable running backs from Christian Okoye to Larry Johnson. Priest Holmes is so underrated. That dude is a legend.
Yeah.
I got a Priest Holmes signed football somewhere, but this isn't about me and my footballs. This is about you. So talk to me. Tell me, you know, your upbringing and how you got into art and how this became your flavor.
Okay. I try to keep it brief. But I always loved art. Ever since I was a kid, I loved art. And like sports is my other passion. The unfortunate thing, I grew up in the middle of my city. It's not the safest of places.
Understood. Yeah.
And I had a single father raising 4 of us. So
Wow.
like the sports programs, they were either like far away.
Yeah.
And we couldn't really get to them, or they were expensive and we couldn't afford them. And then like even on the go outside and play and learn your skills there, it wasn't always the safest to go out and do. So I was more so able to turn to my art and kind of express my energies there. And then like other things happen in life. Like I ended up having surgery on my neck and it was after my 8th grade year, right before my 9th grade year. So coming into high school, you would start like school.
Sure.
Right.
Sports.
So
School, yeah. Kind of. Yeah.
And I kind of like got disqualified from that because of that surgery. Like I have very limited range of motion in my neck because
now can we talk about what happened to the neck?
I had tuberculosis.
Wow.
Very rare case of where it was located. Usually it's, you know, it's in your lungs and stuff.
Sure.
Mine's in my neck, and it ate away at my spinal disc. And I found out because my bus going home hit a bump. Boom. That bump caused the bone that was getting ate away at to collapse and pinch a nerve.
Really?
And it was very painful.
That is wild, man. I have never heard anything like that.
Yeah, so I had to put a rod and 4 screws in my neck, and I had to wear like this halo over the summer, you know, like the shoulder pads.
Like the dogs would wear on the
No, that's like a cone. So
I'm messing with you. Could you imagine walking down the street? You wouldn't get picked on in that neighborhood at all, right?
Right. But yeah, that was that kind of like stopped my sports dream before they ever really got to a chance to start, right? So but during
everything happens for a reason and God's plan, right? So I mean, here you are thinking you're going to be the next Michael Jordan, and this happens and you get to be the next Michael Jordan of art. So tell me, you know, then how did you know you had a gift? You know, we're like right now, man, I could draw a couple stick figures, right? I mean, I'm horrible. How did you know you had a gift?
That's a good question. I don't know. I've been blessed with creativity, like in a lot of avenues and a lot of things, from like writing with poetry and storytelling and
Okay.
music production, like a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
And so that's just something that I don't know. It's been a blessing since I've always known.
I
Like
mean,
where,
did you kind of doodle though? I mean, like, were you making
yeah,
sketches and comic books and stuff, or what was kind of what got you into it?
like I used to like doodle all the time on
Okay.
any and everything,
Okay.
on side of pizza boxes to homework assignments to like index cards that were supposed
when
to
we
be
don't come from money, which I can tell you, man, I was raised when I was a kid, food stamps and stuff like that. And when you don't come from money,
paper stamp days.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you find things though. You find things to write on. And I remember, now we have these crazy Matchbox cars, right? Where the kids have these giant sets of
Mhm.
all this crazy stuff. And I remember taking mine and rolling them, through the dirt and making them race through the dirt, right? I didn't have any money. So it was like, you'd see the smoke and it was like, you have to create things when you don't have it. And
Even like with that, like I get a toy, we didn't get like new toys, so like I would draw or paint on my toy to make it
okay.
something, right?
Yeah, that's cool though. That's cool
Like
though.
I use
So
like white out and just like make it all white and like color it a different color. Now
yeah,
it's a
I remember like we couldn't afford the Transformers, so we got the GoBots, I think they were called, right? The knockoff version. And then you'd have to kind of like white it out. It's like the Biggie Small song where he's like the alligator shirts. You want to see the inside? I'll see you later, right? Oh man, that's how it was though. That's how it was though. So let's show the folks a piece of your art. I think that's just the best way. Pull something up here and show it to the camera. And I want people to see what I'm talking about.
I had a few things. I have like some prints. This is a print of a art piece that I did of Mahomes.
It's just so cool. It's so unique. Now the drip, right? It's got kind of like an 80s spray paint on a wall graffiti kind of vibe, right?
Right.
Is that kind of, and I notice a lot of your stuff is like that, right? It's very, oh,
And
what's
then I've
this?
turned some of my artwork into collectible sports cards as
Oh, no
well.
kidding.
Yeah.
Okay. This show kind of started as a sports card collectible show. So, I mean, this is right up the alley here. So you make your own, you customize them?
Right. Yeah. So those are like I started the artwork 2021.
Okay.
And I start like I love sports, so I kind of was able to mix the best of both worlds. And I had a few like card collectors asking
Yeah.
me like, "Hey, can you put my favorite card like on canvas and like remix it with your style?" So I did that, and
Yeah.
then from doing that and sharing those, I had quite a few people ask me like, "Hey, do you make custom cards?" And at this time, me and my family, we were actually traveling. Like all of 22, we were out of the country. So we were in like Mexico for like 6 months, and then we were down in Colombia for like 5 months.
Now what were you guys doing? Were you
Just traveling.
no, I mean, that's amazing. You were just saying, hey, the heck with it. We're going to go travel and see the world.
Yeah, we were kind of like plotting potential places to live outside of the US.
Okay.
And we kind of wanted to get like feet on the ground.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, on paper this looks nice and the pictures look nice, but like what is it to actually live here?
And I see you're still in Kansas City, so that didn't work out, or that's a long-term plan?
So I don't know. You okay with me panning over to you? Sure. So my wife is here. And so,
Hey, how are you?
So that's why we're back. Right
How
there.
you doing? Oh, it's another baby?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we found out my wife was pregnant when we were in Colombia. And we don't speak Spanish. So and then also we don't have any family or anything there. So you got like that language barrier and then a lack of community. So we had
You
to
know
come
what?
back.
You guys are such free spirits, man. You guys are like hippies from the 60s or 70s, right? I mean, for real, you guys were just gonna legit pick up and go move somewhere without knowing anybody. And I'm not laughing at it. I'm actually admiring it. I think that's such a bold, adventurous, confident thing to do, man. Like I'm having a hard time. I live in Buffalo, and Buffalo, the winters are worse than KC, and KC is horrible, and there's so many reasons to move. There's so many reasons. Right? But we don't do it. It's like I wake up every day, I look at the snow and I'm like, oh yeah, okay. you know, and I can't figure it out. And like, it used to be something like the friends kept you here, and then, you know, the family. Well, my family's not around anymore. It's really strange, the dynamic of why we stay, right? But now, who do you have, boys, girls? How many? You have 5 kids?
Four boys, 1 girl.
Wow. What's your wife's name?
Takia.
Takia, you are outnumbered, girl.
Yes, I am.
Right. Well, my wife is too. So I have 3 little boys and me, and it's just poor Trish. So Trish is in New York City this weekend with her friend. And it's just me and the boys, man. We're just ripping this house apart.
We sit back together right before she gets home.
Yeah, right. We'll try.
Flight lands in an hour. Let's go.
But listen, back to the man here. I was so impressed, and I stumbled upon you on Facebook. I was scrolling through. It was funny the other day. I saw D made a comment, and he said the worst thing, you know, when people like inquire about something and then don't buy it. I was that guy for a minute. Although I didn't fully commit. I was that dude for a minute.
It's not that exactly.
I'm 100% in, and I'm going to go with that Bo Jackson that I sent you, because that was the poster I had as a kid in my room, bro.
Nice.
You know, I had that Bo with the bat, and it was like, that thing is legendary. So I cannot wait to see, you know, the final product on that, and we'll talk about that after the show. But what was your inspiration? Obviously, I know that you were into sports and everything else, but what was your inspiration for, I guess, that like kind of art graffiti type grind, right? That drip kind of look. What was the inspiration behind that?
A big part of it is both of the time period and the location of where I grew up. Like the time period growing up in the 90s, like everything was very bold and colorful.
Neon, right?
like everything's bold and colorful. Like you think about like, you know, starter jackets and like even like commercials, like you have like those colorful MTV commercials and Taco Bell commercials, and like everything. Yep. Everything was very vivid, right? So like growing up in that time period, and then as far as like the style, I used to love seeing like the graffiti on the buildings around the city growing up, like just on the way to grocery store or walking to the convenience store or on the way to school or whatever the case. Like sometimes it's just plain nonsense, and it's like that's clearly definitely vandalism that nobody wants. Then sometimes it's like, dude, that's amazing, even though it's still vandalism. Like,
no, listen, you're right. You're right. Yeah, it's like who's that famous guy that does the graffiti?
Banksy.
Banksy, right? And that's what he started as, just getting in trouble, right? Were you one of those kids who were spray painting on walls and stuff?
No. So my dad, while he let us have a lot of freedom, he was very much a disciplinarian. Yeah. So we were able to have that freedom because we also had a reverence of him.
Yeah.
It's like we know to not break rules that get us into a level of trouble, not because of that trouble with the law, but because of that trouble with him.
With him. Well, and that's why you're going to be a phenomenal father, and that's why you are the man you are today. You know, so, and I mean that sincerely. Props to your dad. That's the dad I'm trying to be. Right. There's that cross between friendship and cool dad, and sometimes we have a hard time with that, right? You know, but we got to make sure that they know who's in charge, right? Like we're friends until we're not. Then I'm going to put a whooping. I dig the style. I dig that graffiti type look. Tell us about the NFL. The draft was in Kansas City, and you do have a couple articles out there, man. There's people aware of you, which I'm glad they are, because your work needs to be seen, and I'm going to make sure I get this out to as many people as I can, because I'm so impressed with it. But tell me a little bit about the Kansas City. The draft was there, and you had a chance to do what there?
So I was able to do a live painting at an event directly connected with the NFL alumni group.
Awesome.
And they were doing like a charity auction for Children's Mercy Hospital. Okay. So I was able to have a few pieces there that were auctioned on, and then the painting that I was doing live was actually able to be auctioned on as well, which that Mahomes, the one that I was sharing the print, like the painting that I was doing was this.
Okay. It was on a bigger canvas type thing?
Right.
Yeah.
So I got to do that, and just like was able to network with some few people. Sure. Had a little clipping on the news, local news channel.
Sure.
And I have a check that I kept, like it's deposited, but I kept the actual check part because it had like the NFL logo on there. Like, this is official.
Dude, yeah, you keep that forever. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Who are your inspirations artistically? Not sports wise, but people that you kind of look up to artistically.
So honestly, this question is very tough to me. It's like there's no big name people. Like, a lot of the stuff, like I said, was like seeing like the graffiti and stuff around the city,
Yeah,
and it's like,
yeah.
I don't know who those guys are.
Right. No, and yeah, but I think you're honest, and I think it's a great answer because, you know, what are you going to say, Van Gogh? You know what I'm saying? Like the dude who cut off his ear 200 years ago. Or whatever. I mean, like, there's art is not recognized the way it should be at all, and you know, in New York City, Chicago, LA, the bigger cities, KC is small in the, you know, it's kind of like Buffalo in how it lays out and the demographic and stuff of it. So you probably don't have these major art shows. And I think art and the value of art is just so underrated. And it just makes you feel good. You know, if you have a real nice piece of art and just looking at it every day, man, it just makes you feel good, you know? And it's not about wealth. It's not about, oh, I own this. I'm something. Maybe some people it soothes their ego. I don't know. That's not what it would be for me. You know, there is that too, but it just makes you feel good. And the fact I like when you know somebody did that and took the time to go ahead and put the hours in, the man hours in and make that, and then you see the finished product, you know, to me, there's nothing like that. It's just such a unique thing. Maybe, you know what? Maybe because I'm so bad at it, dude. Like, you know, I'm just so bad at it. Did you bring any other pieces out with you?
I did. I have a painting that I actually got signed by Pacheco. So,
Oh my goodness. Look at that thing.
actually,
That thing is metal, man. Now tell me the story how you got it signed.
So he was doing a signing event here in Kansas City, and I had that and a couple of my cards of him that I did autographed, which was pretty awesome. Unfortunately, because of the way the event was set up, it wasn't something that like you could, you know, spend some time and chat.
You couldn't dice it up with them. I know they move you like a herd of cattle in those things, right?
Right.
Yeah. And it's too bad. Did he know that you made it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I was hoping I could try and get some connection.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, you're gonna get some connections. But there's a couple guys from Buffalo that you may. It might hurt you to do it, but there's a couple guys in Buffalo, you know, that I've befriended through the show and stuff. That, you know, one in particular, Stevie Johnson. I'm sure he won't mind me ripping his name off here because this guy is the most creative mind I've ever met in my life. Like just today, he had texted me something and I read it and I was like, man, your brain, I don't know how your brain works, but this guy's got his hand in everything, and art and fashion is one of those things. And art and fashion, the two collaborate perfectly. You said you had a line, right?
Right. Correct.
Tell me about that a little bit.
So I have like with my art, I put them on t-shirts. That's just like a basic thing. Just you can have art that's wearable type of idea.
Yeah, sure.
But I actually have a clothing brand. I have two clothing brands. Just kind of growing up in the financial restrictions that we did, having new clothes wasn't always a thing. So I was like, wow, one of my goals or dreams growing up was like, I'm gonna make my own clothing brand. And I'll rock my own stuff, right?
And you're doing it. And you're doing it though. Like, you know, people say it, but you're doing it. What are the clothing lines called?
One of them is called Icarus Clothing.
Okay.
And it's spelled as an anagram of my middle name, Equris. My middle name is with K. It is a Christian clothing brand. Icarus is the Greek boy that flies too close to the sun.
Sure.
And the basic sentiment of it is, even if getting close to the sun, SON, may cause us to an early demise, we will get close to him anyway. It's kind of the message there. And it's a Christian streetwear brand. So I started it because like as a follower and believer of Christ, looking at a lot of things in fashion, unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff that perpetuates things outside of my belief, like guns, drugs, stuff like that. Yeah. And that's like popular and cool, like not cool necessarily isn't trendy, but like cool isn't it actually that looks good, right?
Right.
And then you look at most of the brands at that time when I created, there's quite a few now that's been stepping it up. But at the time I created my brand, it was a lot of them. It was like very just cliche and bland. Like you would get like a scripture on a T-shirt.
Right.
And this is just
No,
like
yeah, I know what you're saying.
t-shirt.
I know what you're
And all
saying.
you did was mess with a font and put a scripture on there
Yeah.
and this little cross. And I was like, that's not a clothing brand. Like, no shot at that person, but like that's not it.
No,
Like,
that was like a last resort for people that wanted something to do with Christ on clothing and they had no choice, right?
right. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make the brand that I want to see. I'm going to do that. So
is that selling in stores?
it is only online. I had a few places that I had local in Kansas City before we left the country. And leaving, like I couldn't keep that relationship.
Sure.
That I haven't reestablished it since we've been back.
Okay.
Because now the visual art is more of the focus currently.
Well, there's a company here. It's called Buffalogo that actually makes some of my personal stuff, and also involved with Stevie that we went and did a fashion show there a month or two ago, and it's huge. And I think there's a few people that I really want you to get in contact, and we'll save that for after the video. People don't need to know all that kind of business, right? But for real, man, I think you're uber talented. You're a very down to earth cat. You're very unique. You have a beautiful family. You seem to just have a beautiful personality, and I want to give you props for everything that you're doing in your life. And glad I got to meet you. Let's have a couple of fun questions here, man. What's your favorite food, D?
My favorite food is Italian. Have to be specific. I love chicken Alfredo.
Good stuff.
I used to really love shrimp Alfredo, and then I developed an allergy to shrimp. And like that's the only seafood.
You can't catch a break, man.
It's the only seafood that I like is shrimp, and now I'm allergic to it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I say they're bottom feeders, so you're better without them.
Like all of me and my siblings, we all slowly developed it. First it was my younger brother, and last it was my younger sister. My younger brother, he had it real bad. Like, really.
You know what? I didn't ask you. Is the family involved with any of your art or clothing stuff, or are they kind of doing their own things?
Very, very little. In the sense of we're trying to cater a creative environment for our kids and craft that for them. So I try to encourage some things. So like I did like a basketball set, like shorts and a jersey, and I had my two older sons come up with designs for that, which I think they're still available.
That's rad. That's rad, though. It's so cool to get the family. Like, I express my art a little bit with a lot of tattoos I have, and I kind of ran out of ideas, and I started having my young sons draw things. They would just draw on my arm, and I would go tattoo it. And I can say in 20 years, I can show them and say, look what you drew, this be kind here when you were 5 years old. And I just, it's so great to have the kids involved with it. What is your website?
I did have so I kind of do like this level up thing where I have them draw and then like I redraw what they draw.
Yeah, but it's their idea.
Right. And then from that, I am creating for them a card game. Like they love Pokemon cards.
Right on. And
they're always like, oh, we should make a Pokemon card. And my thing is like, but Pokemon's already their thing. So let's make your thing. Yeah. Right. So you can create creatures and then we can make a thing. So I'm creating a game for them. It's kind of like the basis of it's like rock, paper, scissors. Arts. So it's like 3 different types and you play it. And, this type beats that type automatically. It's not like a whole.
And now what's that going to be called?
Triforce. That's what they called it.
See, I love this stuff, man. This is like, you got card games going on. Now, where can people find your art or your clothing line or you? I am going to post up some stuff during the video, but is there a site that you can tell us now?
Yes. So my website for my artwork is www and then .design instead of .com.
Yeah, I like the dot design definitely sticks out. So, people don't forget it either. So decor .design, and that's going to be plastered on this as well. I want to thank you, man, for taking some time with me tonight. This is exactly what the doctor ordered. We tried this the other day and didn't quite work out, but I'm glad we got to do it again tonight.
For sure. And then
One last
Facebook.
question. Go ahead.
Too.
I
I
see.
say you can reach me on Facebook, Deante Howard, and then Instagram is howard.d.artist.
Awesome. Yeah, we're gonna be doing some collab stuff. There's no question. I know that our paths are gonna collide a little bit, and again, I'll get into that a little bit more with you. But again, man, to you and the family, God bless, and have an excellent night. And thanks for doing the show, man. We'll talk soon, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right, take care, man.